Hey guys, thanks for coming back to my channel this week. And this week on my own drum, we're gonna make a survivor bracelet. What's a survivor bracelet? Well, it's a super cool bracelet that not only looks cool and very fashionable, but it is basic stuff that you might need for survival. Like if you got lost, if your plane crashed and you were stranded because you actually survived the plane crash, or maybe you went hiking and your friend is like, don't worry, I know where I'm going, and they didn't know where they were going, and maybe you need just some basic stuff, get you through the next few days. And what's in here? Well, we have a little compass. The buckle here is actually a whistle. It's very loud. And everything that's inside here is pretty handy. I've got some cotton flattened out and wrapped up in some tin foil, like a sheet of tin foil about like this big maybe. I have some fishing swivels. There is 2 little like X-Acto razor blades in here. There's 2 sewing needles. There's 2 fishing hooks, a large one and a small one. There's also about 8 feet or so of fishing line. There's 2 rubber bands, which you can see them poking through. Those are the rubber bands. There's 2 safety pins you can kind of see back here. And also the paracord that is holding all of this together is handy in and of itself. And if you cut paracord, it's got thin little strands inside of it, so that's even more rope. And I think that's everything. Oh, and there's 2 twisty ties in here, like thick wire, like twisty ties. And you know, I mean, it's not a tent, you know, but some of this stuff might be pretty handy. You know, you get the fishing line and some hooks and some swivels and you can fish, or you got like tape in here and wire and cotton and maybe, hey, listen, I don't know, but I made it and I stuck it all in this bracelet and this is how I did it.
So before I can put all the items into the bracelet, I need to get the items ready. I'm going to take anything with a sharp edge, the blades, the needles, and the hooks, and wrap them up in electrical tape, which is also handy to have in the bracelet. The foil and the cotton are going to be put together. I just take a cotton ball, flatten it out, and stick it in a small piece of foil. I make sure all the edges of the foil are sealed up, that way the cotton stays dry, and I fold it up as small as I can. I'm going to measure out about 8 feet of fishing line, loop it around my fingers, and then tie it around itself. Then secure that with electrical tape as well. I mentioned earlier that paracord has extra strands inside, so here I pulled out those strands so I could fill that section of paracord with the wire twisties. I sealed it up using a lighter. All of the paracord it's really easy to seal up, just putting a little bit of flame to it. Be careful though, because it is hot. Depending on how big or how small your swivels are, you can connect them or leave them apart. That's up to you. Make sure with your compass you're not putting it by the needles. The needles will change north, as I'm showing you here. See how it spins? Yeah, don't want that. You're going to measure out 2 strands of paracord, and that's going to be the inside of your bracelet. I looped it through the buckle twice for each side. And again, be careful when you're sealing the edges, okay? Looping the second side is a little trickier. You're going to loop it twice, and you want to make sure you're keeping it the length of the bracelet, like the finished product that you want. So there's a little bit of adjusting back and forth here just to make sure that it stays the length that I need it, which is basically the length of the twisty tie wire. Now that I have my length set, I'm going to tie the paracord and seal it up. I'm also taking a strand of the black and the red and sealing them together. This is going to be the strand that I'm actually making the bracelet with, and you want one of each color. Put your connected strands behind the bracelet. The red paracord should be going over the bracelet, and the black one you're going to feed under and through, and then pull tight. We're going to go ahead and add the foil in, and I did create sort of a trench with it so it could fit underneath the wire inside of the paracord. Then tie another knot. After you tie that one, it's time to put your swivels on. And I just connected one side of the swivel. We'll connect the other side a few more rows down and tie another knot. And you'll notice I'm always tying red over black. You always tie the exact same way. The red goes on top, the black's going to go underneath and through. After about 4 or 5 rows, I attach the other side of the swivel so it's nice and tight. There's no slack in it. Here I'm adding the pouch with the blades and the needles in it, and I'm securing it to the bracelet with a rubber band. Flipped it over and I added the fishing hooks to the back, again securing it with the rubber band. Once you get your items in the bracelet and you tie that first knot, it really helps to secure that item that you just put in there. And you want to make some adjustments as you go along, just tightening up the straps that you're putting on and trying to conceal as much of what's inside as you can. And you'll notice my measurements were off, so I have to connect extra paracord to finish this project up, which again is pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and add the fishing line, just sort of slide it underneath that tie that I just made and tighten it, and slide the safety pins underneath that. Now, I'm not going to lie, it is pretty tricky trying to keep these pieces in place as you're making these ties and trying to keep everything tight and secure. And now for the final piece. The red cord gets threaded through the underside of the compass. There's a little spot on the back. Tie another knot. Secure that in place. I'm going to take the red cord again and put it through this side and tying another knot underneath and pulling it tight. There's a little fiddling you have to do to keep it straight. I think maybe 2 or 3 more knots on the end of this. Then I flipped it over to the back, made a regular tie, cut the ends off. And when I sealed the ends on this one, I really made sure to get them nice and hot, and then I pressed it down onto the tie that I made so it's kind of singed together.
Well guys, that's how I made this super awesome survival bracelet. Go ahead and make one. Let me know what you put inside. You don't have to put the same stuff inside. But if you enjoyed this week's video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every Sunday. And until next week, keep on marching to the beat of your own drum. Peace. Sorry I had to take last week off, guys. My computer was going through some repairs, but I'm so happy to say, obviously, I'm back in full swing of things, and it runs so much better, so much faster. It's very efficient now, and I thankfully have her back. So again, sorry about the no video last week, but yeah, sometimes that happens.